Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name's Kat and today we're outside enjoying the beautiful weather, something we haven't done all that often recently. Like we've been out and about but not hanging out here on the balcony. Anyway, there's good reason for it today because I have so much that I want to chat with you about. For those of you who happen to just be stumbling into this conversation, we've been talking a lot about the Drury Plaza Hotel on this channel. So I recently stayed there, I've done a room tour, and we've been doing like reviews of the different food options. You can go check all of that out on the channel. I will put links in the description down below. But on all of those videos, I got so many great questions and comments, and so I wanted to take some time to talk about them today and share my thoughts with you and answer some of those questions. Yes, I know I could have just done it by typing a response in the comments, but this helps more people find those answers, and like I said, you had some really great questions. So that's what I want to focus my energy on today because quite frankly, I think that the Drury Plaza Hotel is a great option. Like I said, it's located on Disney property in the Disney Springs area, and it has some amazing perks. And quite frankly, I think that those perks could be perfect for the right family. But we'll get more into that a little bit later. First, let me knock out some of these questions. So the first one, what is the price range and the transportation options? So the Drury Plaza Hotel starts at about $220 a night, and parking at the Drury Plaza Hotel is $25 per night. Now during my stay, I was in a king suite. It was $324 per night. That includes taxes, fees, as well as parking. Also, it's important to note that the parking fee was $25 per day, but there was like a nearly $2 tax on top of that. So it was more like $27 for parking. I also want to make sure that I state very clearly that that price that I paid was with an annual pass holder discount. Now, it wasn't a huge discount, and in fact, rooms go for around this rate anyway, but in the interest of full disclosure, that's what the situation is when it comes to the pricing for the room I was staying in. It also was a fireworks view room. Now, in terms of transportation, because that was another question, they do have transportation at the Drury Plaza Hotel to Walt Disney World. So you can take a bus to Disney Springs as well as all four of the theme parks. Now, transportation here works a little bit differently than it does elsewhere, definitely differently than a Walt Disney World Resort hotel. You can go on their website and look up their transportation schedule, and I encourage you to do that because the schedule does change. It's only effective for certain dates. They do use coach buses, so that's important to know. They also have multiple pickup times throughout the day. So it's not like there are only 2 or 3 times that you can catch the bus. There are a number of them, at least during my stay. However, an important and very different detail when it comes to getting on that bus is that they strongly encourage you to make a reservation at least 2 hours in advance of when you would like to be picked up. So this is an important detail. You really want to make sure that you are on that if you are planning on taking this Drury Plaza Hotel transportation to the Disney theme parks. Also, in terms of transportation, it's important to note that this is not Disney transportation, and so you're not going to be dropped off in the same places that Disney transportation would have you dropped off. This is going to be especially notable in the case of Animal Kingdom and Magic Kingdom. So in Animal Kingdom, you're going to get dropped off in the parking lot, which is very close to the same distance that you would be dropped off if you were taking a Disney bus, but you will have to do a little bit of walking through the parking lot in order to get through security and ultimately to Animal Kingdom. But the big one you're going to want to be aware of is over at Magic Kingdom. If you are taking the Drury Plaza bus or any bus from any non-Disney owned and operated hotel, you're going to be dropped off at the Transportation and Ticket Center. So this is the Magic Kingdom parking lot. From there, you'll have to go through security, and then you'll have to take secondary mode of transportation, being the ferry or the monorail, in order to get to the Magic Kingdom. It does take a significant amount of time to go through this process versus if you're going to go to any of the other theme parks. It's important to note, if you are planning to plan accordingly, I recommend leaving at very least an hour before you want to get where you're going if you're going to Magic Kingdom, because the process of getting through the Transportation and Ticket Center and over to Magic Kingdom is a lengthy one. Now, if you want more information about transportation, especially when it comes to getting to Magic Kingdom from a non-Disney owned and operated hotel, I do have information about this both on our website as well as in previous videos that we've made. I will go ahead and link those in the description as well. Next, let's talk about fireworks. Did I see the fireworks from my room? Yes. Can you see the fireworks from your room? Yes, but not from every room. So my room, like I said, was room 718. I did have a fireworks view and I could see both Epcot as well as Magic Kingdom fireworks. I also had a fantastic view over Disney Springs, so that was really nice. Personally, I don't think that this would be something I would pay extra for, but of course everyone has different things that they prefer in their rooms. It was cool to see, but it wasn't a game changer for me. Of course, if you think it would be a game changer for you, go ahead and leave some comments down below. But another thing I want to talk about in terms of being able to see the fireworks is the noise. I know a lot of people wonder, like, with the fireworks in your view, do you hear the fireworks? Not really. I found that it was super quiet in my room and I could barely hear the fireworks going on outside. So I don't think that this would be an issue. I don't think that this would be something you need to concern yourself with if you think it's gonna like wake the kids up or whatever. However, I will say it's always a good choice to bring some sort of white noise machine with you if this is a concern of yours, but just something to note. Okay, before we move on, we need to go back to transportation because there is a little detail that I forgot to talk about, and that is airport transportation. I did have some questions about whether or not the Drury Plaza has an airport shuttle, and unfortunately I was not able to find any information regarding an airport shuttle. And with that, I will say I'm not sure many hotels are offering airport shuttles anymore. This is something that I'm going to keep an eye out for when I go to hotels in the future, but I will tell you that from what I've seen, Drury Plaza does not have an airport shuttle, so you're on your own in terms of getting from the airport to your hotel. Though, it's important to note that you do have plenty of options. There are options with Mears, there are obviously rideshare services, so keep in mind that you do have options, just not necessarily through the hotel. So last but not least, I got this question asking about whether or not I recommend Drury Plaza Hotel over Bryan Spanish Cove, for example, for a family of 5 staying 4 nights. Now, just as a little bit of background, we have recently also stayed at Bryan Spanish Cove, which is condo-style accommodations located honestly not too far from the Drury Plaza Hotel, but it's a little bit different because it is a true off-property hotel. You do not have transportation options. If you're staying at Bryan Spanish Cove, you do not have access to restaurants or food on the premises of Bryan Spanish Cove. That doesn't mean that you don't have access to those things, but it's a different situation. It's a different scenario altogether. So anyway, this question asked about my recommendation, especially referring to the value for the price as well as the amenities. For example, Bryan Spanish Cove has a pool, but it's a small pool, whereas Drury Plaza has like a splash pad and a big pool, on top of all the other amenities that Drury Plaza has, because there are so many. Now, before I get into my feelings about this, I do want to say that questions like this can always be a little tricky because everyone's family is different. Everyone has different preferences and priorities when they are on vacation and when it comes to the accommodations that they are staying in. I also want to be very clear that the way I feel about different places, for example, resort hotels like Bryan Spanish Cove or the Drury Plaza Hotel, they are based in like a foundation of what I think of the place, and then I kind of feel like they are good or bad or better or worse, if you will. There are pros and cons based on the type of experience you're looking for and your needs, right? So I'm about to say some things about Bryan Spanish Cove that might seem like I didn't like Bryan Spanish Cove, but that's not the case. I'm talking in the context of a family of 5 staying for 4 nights. In my opinion, and also when I say this, I'm also talking about Russ's opinion because he has been chatting with me about this nonstop for the past few days. I think that Drury Plaza Hotel is going to overall offer a better experience than Bryan Spanish Cove will, honestly, for most families. And the reason I say that is this. As nice as Bryan Spanish Cove was for someone who's looking for a home away from home, there are things about Bryan Spanish Cove that feel much more like a home away from home and less like a vacation. And when I think about traveling, especially if I'm traveling with a family of 5 and there are kids, I'm thinking of more vacation style accommodations and less like let's pack the bags and live everyday life just in a different location. Bryan Spanish Cove is much more like the latter. Yes, you're going to have a bigger room at Bryan Spanish Cove. You're going to have a full kitchen at Bryan Spanish Cove, which is fantastic, and you might have more room to spread out at Bryan Spanish Cove, but you're also giving up a lot. In my opinion, you're giving up the small luxuries of being in a hotel style accommodation because again, it is more like a condo, it's more like a home. I also think that you're giving up a lot in terms of amenities, especially if we're talking about Drury Plaza Hotel. Even before we get into some of the money-saving amenities that are available at Drury Plaza Hotel, there are things that the hotel just has that you're not going to get out of Bryan Spanish Cove. That really big pool, that really big splash pad, the area outside where you can relax and vacation. You're not going to get that at Bryan Spanish Cove or a similar style hotel. You're going to get that over at Drury Plaza though, which is in and of itself, I think, worth it. And there are other amenities that you're going to have at Drury Plaza Hotel that you wouldn't get at Bryan Spanish Cove or a similar type place. So you have grab and go options in terms of food, like little coolers that have frozen pizzas and stuff like that, like microwave pizzas and microwave burritos that you can grab. You have the ability to also do some grab and go options in terms of pizza, some more restaurant / takeout type options in terms of like burgers and salads and stuff like that. So if you're coming home at the end of a long day and you don't want to have to load the kids back up into the car to make a run to the grocery store to get some stuff to come back and cook in your room, you can do that at the Drury Plaza Hotel. You're not going to have access to that if you're staying at Bryan Spanish Cove. There are no little grab and go items. I think there's a vending machine with some Coke products in it. So you definitely need to be more like self-sustaining and you have to do a little bit more planning and prep if you're staying at a place like Bryan Spanish Cove than you would if you're staying at Drury Plaza. But beyond that, some of the things that I think really make Drury Plaza worth the money are these other amenities that you have access to. So it is walking distance to Disney Springs, although it's kind of far away, like a mile, about 20-minute walk, but still you can make that work. Then there's the transportation, as we've already discussed, to all 4 theme parks, which makes it much easier to get back and forth. So you can cut costs out from having to rent a car if that's how you're getting down here. If you have your own car, there is the additional cost of parking your car, and you would have to pay the additional cost of parking at theme parks as well if you decided to drive there, but again, you can save that $25 per day by just taking their transportation. So like there's a lot of little things to weigh. Big savings comes from the available food options. Now we have talked a little bit about this before, like I said, previous videos, we have information about this, but Drury Plaza Hotel offers a free hot breakfast buffet as well as snacks midday. So they have popcorn and soda. They also have coffee that's available throughout the day in the lobby. They also have light bites and drinks in the evening. So they basically provide you with a breakfast and a dinner at this hotel. Now I crunched some numbers, and if we compare that to the price of what you would pay if you stayed on property or buying food at a Walt Disney World location, that's a value of approximately like $70 per adult over 21, because you do get 3 free alcoholic beverages per day if you are staying at the Drury Plaza Hotel, or about $30 per day if you don't participate in the consumption of alcohol, which on the low end with a family of 5 is approximately like $150 a day in terms of value when you're staying at the Drury Plaza Hotel. And that, like I said, is just counting the light bites and the food, which is totally doable. I know some people wonder, like, how can you pull that off? You can have breakfast at your hotel, come back midday, which a lot of people like to do anyway during the hottest part of the day, have some dinner, and then head back out to the parks in the evening. There you go. You just saved your $150 a night by eating whatever is available at the Drury Plaza Hotel, which is a crazy savings and totally worth it, especially for families who are trying to do all of this on a really tight budget. And we could add to that, right? So if we add $25, which would be the cost to park at the theme parks, It's $25 a day, so that makes it what? $175 in value. Of course, that's not counting any additional coffees or if you want popcorn or soda additionally. So like we could easily be at $200 a day that you are saving by taking advantage of the perks and amenities available for free at the Drury Plaza Hotel, which is pretty good in terms of value based on how much it costs to stay there. So I did some searching, and of course I don't know the dates that this person who asked this question is looking to stay there, but I did look up a 2-queen suite. So this is the room that I was staying in, but instead of having a king size bed, it has 2 queen size beds. So that means that you can sleep 6 in that room, which would comfortably fit a family of 5. And that starts at about $300 per night, that is plus tax. So if you're talking about a value of like $200 per night in amenities, that's arguably like spending only $100 per night for the room. That's pretty good. And it comes in at less than you would pay if you were staying at a place like Bryan Spanish Cove for around $130 a night, which is what I paid when I was staying at Bryan Spanish Cove. So in this case, if you're taking advantage of all of those perks, it would be less than Bryan Spanish Cove and less stress, a lot easier, and honestly a nicer place, but that's just my opinion. And that's not even taking into consideration if we're calculating in the 3 alcoholic beverages that everyone over the age of 21 can enjoy if they're staying at Drury Plaza as well. Like that just makes the price per night with the amenities like even less. But in terms of personal preference real quick, like moving away from like the nuts and bolts of this over that, I do think that the Drury Plaza is a better overall experience, and it is an experience that feels a little bit more high-end, a little bit more luxurious. It feels a little bit more like a vacation than Bryan Spanish Cove does. And again, that's not to say that Bryan Spanish Cove wouldn't be great for the right family, but you know, what kind of experience are you looking for? I personally would like things to feel a little bit more luxurious. It would be fun to be pampered a little bit, even just a little bit. And while the customer service and so much about Bryan Spanish Cove is fantastic, you're not going to get that there like you would at the Drury Plaza Hotel. But one more thing that I want to talk about in terms of comparing the two is location. Drury Plaza Hotel has a much better location than Bryan Spanish Cove, even though they are in a similar area, mainly because you don't have to deal with traffic. Because of the location of Bryan Spanish Cove, kind of getting to and from the Walt Disney World Resort does mean that you're in some high traffic areas. And you really have to think about when you're going to be leaving your hotel in order to get to Disney property, especially if you are planning on spending your time at Walt Disney World. It does get crowded and it does get congested. That's not to say that it doesn't or won't near the Drury Plaza Hotel, but you're not crossing over like this really main congested area that you would be crossing through if you were staying at Bryan Spanish Cove. All this having been said, for me, if I was comparing the two, hands down, I'm doing Drury Plaza Hotel. The hotel is new, so it's in fantastic shape. The rooms are spacious. It doesn't feel crowded and cramped. The amenities are unbeatable, and I just think that it offers a better overall experience than you're gonna get from a place like Bryan Spanish Cove. This all having been said, we do have some other hotels that we're gonna be staying at here in the next couple months, and I'm looking forward to sharing them with you. We are going to be venturing on property and staying at some of the value options as well as some of the moderates, so they're going to be in a similar price range to what we've been looking at in terms of the Drury Plaza Hotel. So if you haven't already and you're interested in seeing how those hotels stack up compared to these and what we think of them and getting a closer look at them, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss any of it. Also, feel free to add any additional comments or questions in the comment section down below. We're happy to answer all of your questions to hopefully help you find the best place for you and your family to stay. Thank you so much again for watching. Thanks for hanging in there with us. I know that this has been kind of a long one, but I hope that you got all the answers that you're looking for. That said, until next time, I hope that you have a great day, and we'll see you later. Bye.